Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a sign that you can use for your family room, your game room, your fun room, whatever you want to call it. We have a game room and we're going to put a concession stand in it, and so I'm going to go with concessions for my sign, but there's some other signs that you might want instead, like a cinema, movies, or a theater sign. So whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead and show you how you get started with this. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have the materials to get started. So it's going to mean a trip to the store. I went to Walmart, of course. That's where I go quite often. And I was able to find this is a chalkboard kind of ticket shaped banner, and it was only a little over $2. So that was really handy. It was already made. If you are good with woodwork, you could just get a piece of chalkboard and cut it down, but this works, and I like that it already has the hanging piece. I got some Mod Podge, which is like the glue that I'll be using, and the clear acrylic high gloss coating. This will be like the sealer that I use afterwards. Just a foam brush for applying it. Paper plate, I'm going to pour my glue on there, and a towel for a work mat. And then the one thing that you're going to need is to have your actual wording however you want it worded. You can create this on your own. I was able to just go into my clip art and find the banner or the movie strip, and then I just used a font that I liked for the wording. But I've also included this on a Google's Doc, so you can just click on the link below and download that and get those for free. So decide on what size you want. There's two different sizes. This one is a 3.83 by 11, which would be this size, and then this one is a little bit larger. It's a 4.3 by 11. So it kind of depends on what your chalkboard is going to be, what your chalkboard looks like, how big it is, so that you can see which size fits best. Okay, so I've put my work mat out. The one thing that you want to make sure you do is you want to wipe down your chalkboard really well, because it gets really dusty and it also gets fingerprints on it, so you want to make sure you get that cleaned off. And then the other thing is I'm going to go ahead and untie my hanging piece so that I can have that out of my way while I'm working. Then I want to go ahead and decide on my sign, which I already told you I'm doing the concession sign, but you might choose the theater, and you can see that it has some black around it, so I kind of like that look. There's also the cinema sign and the movie sign, but we're going with the concessions for this one. So got my board cleaned off and I'm ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue my paper on my board. I'm going to start by putting some of this Mod Podge on a paper plate. It's just a glue, so I'm just going to put a little bit on there. My brush isn't going to fit in the bottle, so I'm just going to put a little bit. I don't want to waste it, so I'm not going to pour a whole bunch on there. And then I'm just going to put a thin layer all the way across my board, especially in the middle where I'm going to be gluing on my my sign. Okay, so I've got glue all over it, and the reason I'm putting glue all over it is because I want it to have a consistent texture on there. I don't want it to be shinier on one side versus the other. So then I'm going to go ahead and center that on there. I want to make sure that I get it straight. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and push it down so that it stays on there really well. And then I'm just going to let this have some time to stick on there a little bit, to dry a little bit. Okay, so I went ahead and let my sign dry for 15 minutes, and if the directions actually say 15-20 minutes between coats. And I'm going to go ahead and put on another coat. I did pour a little bit more glue on here, and this time I want to make sure that I cover the paper, starting just all the way from the top and getting it all on there again. And I want to make sure that I really get that paper, get everything even. And once I get this on, I'll go ahead and let it dry for another 15. Actually, I'll probably let it dry for a couple hours, because this will probably be the final coat that I put on here. And I have to be careful with the holes that are in my sign, because I don't want to get glue in there. Once I let this dry, I'm going to go ahead and spray the acrylic. So putting a little bit thicker of a coat on this one. Okay, so I have the glue all the way covered on there. You need to be careful that it's not bubbling up on you, and go ahead and just let it dry. Okay, so it's been a little over an hour and my sign has had time to dry. And during that time I went ahead and washed my brush out so that I can use it for another project. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to spray some of the acrylic spray. The Mod Podge actually recommends using it to get rid of some of the stickiness, but this doesn't actually feel sticky, so you could probably get away with not using it. I needed it for another project, so since I have it, I'm going to go ahead and spray it, and I also want that extra shine to it. So I'm going to go ahead and spread a light coat on it, and then I'm going to go ahead and let it dry again. Okay, so I went ahead and let my sign sit for about an hour after I sprayed the acrylic, and it's dry, so I went ahead and hung my string back on it, and you can see that now I have this nice little sign for my game room. So try this project out. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching my video.